Many thanks in advance for jumping in, making space for grace. In just 5-6 minutes, hopefully, we'll share a thought that will be very encouraging for today. It's regarding growing in grace. Growing and using the idea of multiplication of grace. We derive this from 1 Peter 1 verse 2. I'll just read that verse from an expanded translation. Sanctifying grace to you and tranquilizing peace be multiplied. Grace and peace multiplied. Now it's interesting, in Peter's first letter he uses other adjectives to describe grace. He says, for example, in 1 verse 2, as we read, multiplied grace. 3 verse 7, the grace of life. 4 verse 10, varied grace. And finally, in 5 verse 10, all grace. So these expressions reveal how God's active favour can flow throughout our life. The grace of life is multiplied in us, becoming the varied, sufficient for all situations grace. And eventually, the all grace. You live by grace alone. Now, Peter prays for the multiplication of grace and peace so that we may live in this grace sphere or grace bubble when various trials arise. That's the context of 1 Peter 1 particularly. So we might refer in England English as having a blue Monday, Black Friday, or a red letter day. Okay, so there's colours associated with various moods and days. Likewise, I guess in Spanish they referred to a Dia Negro, a black day, and French they might call it a jour blanc, a white day, which often refers them to the weather, the snow, but can equally apply to having a difficult day ahead. William Barclay, the late theologian and professor, he made a comment on this idea of the multivaried grace. Okay, the Christian for the moment may well have to undergo various trials. That's the word Peter used. The Greek word is poikilos, which literally means many-coloured. Peter uses that word only one other time, and it is to describe the grace of God in 1 Peter 4 verse 10. Our troubles may be many-coloured, but so is the grace of God. There is no colour in the human situation in which the grace of God cannot match it. There is a grace to match every trial, and there is no trial without its grace and peace from God. So invariably, Paul's letters start with the words, grace be to you, and conclude with grace be with you. He knows that God's grace is coming to us through the letter he's writing, and as we get ready to leave the letter to go about our daily business, that God's grace will go with us. So let's treasure the grace-charged words of Scripture daily, so that we're empowered to face whatever shade of trial we encounter. So I hope you have a red letter day. I hope you have a joyous. I hope you are full of the grace of God to match and blend in and overwhelm any dull time that you're having. May the peace of God and grace of God go with you. Someone defined grace as holy love on the move. So as you move through the day, may God's grace and blessing and peace be multiplied to you, my friend. Thank you.